Okay. Welcome, Multnomah Village.
Good morning.
Week 87, Justice for Qadira. And I was going to bring my tablet today and read a few articles, but I forgot to charge it, so that's not going to happen.
Folks, we keep on getting out here because we believe in justice, and we believe that our community should be a safe place for everyone, especially kids.
And we're just not understanding right now why these people are getting picked up. I mean, last week we talked about the new information that's come to light, which is that our daughter's attorney, who he took this case on contingency. I mean, we didn't have any money. We didn't hire the guy. He told us that our daughter had these claims, and he said he was going to help us and he was going to protect her, and he did nothing but throw her under the bus. And I just want to remind everybody, she was a child, and he was her fiduciary. And I'm sorry, but I've turned this guy over to everybody I could possibly turn him over to, and he's just still running amok in the community. One of the things I wanted to bring today, which I'll bring next week, is I found several articles where, Scott Qadira, because he's a super lawyer, he just runs around the city suing people, and he makes, a ton of money. He sues private companies, he sues the state, he sues the city for bike accidents. He's gotten some really big verdicts, millions of dollars. And I'm just saying, this guy can definitely rig up a trial. I mean, he did it in our case. He made sure our daughter got absolutely nothing. I mean, including zero protection on top of that. He made sure she didn't get a police investigation. He made sure we still don't know what even happened on April 12, 2007. I mean, he fed our family so many lies, and apparently there's no laws in Oregon that govern, attorneys and their behavior. So,
or judges.
Yeah, or judges. These
or
people
doctors.
Or doctors. They just, in our case, everybody just did what they wanted. They've all been reported to law enforcement, and they're still all running amok. Now, what I do want to say is, one thing me and my husband are really grateful for is that we are just very, very grounded in peaceful, consistent protest. So our feeling is, if everybody, wants criminals to be running everything, and you want to be preyed upon by these sick people who are grifting all over the state and turning this place into a complete hellhole, I mean, that is your choice. So we have no, we don't plan to do anything but to continue doing this, because the fact of the matter is that the majority of the people want to live like this, and y'all are okay with what these people did to our family. Well, that's all on you and your conscience. It has nothing to do with me and my husband don't agree with it. We think these people need to be rounded up and arrested, and I mean everybody involved in this case, because this is just sick. Discovering that our daughter's attorney had an underage relationship with the perpetrator's brother, political brother, that's really brought a lot of things clear. So I am going to be editing my book to reflect new information, and we'll see where this thing goes, because this story is truly still unfolding. That's another thing I plan to do. I may even write a sequel to my book, because look, we've had all these years. The book Justice for Qadira ends in 2018, but here we are in 2023 still fighting for justice for Qadira. I just want to say, I was looking these people up the other day, and my stomach just kind of got sick, because it's like they just went on to go live their lives. They didn't care what they did to our daughter or what they did to our family. It was so sick and disgusting. I don't know how you can live with that on your conscience, to try to destroy
an innocent family,
and
a child,
an abused child. Scott went on to just go live his life. And so
not only did these people go on to live their lives, but these people, they are major influences here in our city.
Absolutely. They're heading up all kinds of things. I mean, like I said, Scott's
your own attorney general, Ellen Rosenblum, she was involved in this.
Everybody that had a piece in hurting Qadira, kicking the shit out of her, they all went on to be handsomely rewarded, and they're being handsomely rewarded today. Because as far as I know, nobody's in handcuffs. I mean, last week, I thought when we turned this information over to the cops, because we do have this guy under oath, this is just a piece of information information that I never really noticed in our large collection of information. They already knew that he served on a committee with Rex, and they were trying, law enforcement's been trying to act like that was never a big deal. But the guy being 15 when he met Rex, that's a whole nother story. And then, what committee were they serving on together? Because I've looked Scott up, and he was a kid living in Corvallis. The BTA is here, so I don't really know what's going on with all of this, but I'm really uncomfortable with a super lawyer who can go and take it out of anybody just running amok and not having to follow any laws, and his friends. So I really do hope that they pick this guy up, but I have no control over that. So I'm not out here, me and my husband aren't out here demanding they do anything, because we can't demand that they do anything. And clearly,
because these people, they don't have to listen to us. Apparently, they don't have to listen to anybody.
They don't have to listen to the laws they put on the books. They just do what they want, which is why, everything in the city has gone to hell. I mean, we are having a zombie apocalypse. If people haven't noticed, there's just literally people who are zombified everywhere and drugged out and laying on the roads. And I mean, the whole place has gone to shit under the leadership we have. But thank God me and my husband aren't in the paper, and nobody's paying attention to this situation, because that's productive and helping everybody. I don't know, when we're going to get serious about fixing anything in the city. I really don't, but it's almost comical to watch these people ignore this, because I'll tell you right now, I am not interested in engaging in any violence. These people took more than enough from my family, and they ain't getting nothing more. I'll tell you that right now, because I'm not going to let these people destroy my life or get me to do something stupid in regards to their stupidity. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to join people on that journey when they do shitty things to people. You can choose to not engage, and that's what me and my husband are doing. That's why these protests are set up the way they're set up. This is our appropriate response. We always know how we're going to react to everything, because we have this, and this is how we're going to react.
Folks, we do not owe these people our silence, and We're not going to be silent. We're going to continue taking the stance that these people were wrong. They are wrong, and they actually deserve to be held accountable by the city, by the state, by the nation, actually. And like I said, like my wife said, we have no control over whether or not that happens, but we are going to continue to stand against their actions, because they were just wrong.
I was just reading a case that Scott Qadira won against the state of Oregon. I guess a foster family was starving their kids. I don't know the ins and outs of the case, but he won $2 million from the state. I think that was back in 2006. And it's just interesting to me. This guy couldn't prove that two adults, who were playing a naked game and burned up a kid, that they weren't responsible. Give me a break. He's a super lawyer. I read another case he filed in Tigard against First Transit, and he won a very huge jury verdict for the biker. And I'll tell you what, that biker got way more time and attention than our daughter did. And she was a child. There's supposed to be things governing proceedings with children. I can't even tell you the multitude of crimes Scott Qadira committed against our 8-year-old daughter is so beyond egregious. But, the taxpayers here in Oregon and then the lawmakers, they've rewarded him handsomely. He's making money hand over fist, filing all these lawsuits all over the community, which I find highly ironic, because, me and my husband, we filed some pro se lawsuits while we were trying to figure out what happened here. Now, they all got thrown out. I want to say something. The legal system is supposed to work whether you have an attorney or not. It's supposed to be based on rules and laws. Me and my husband found that if there's no attorneys around, they really don't follow the rules and laws. Because they just denied us all our rights and threw everything out. But it's funny to me, because I feel like we've been painted as, we're the money-hungry ones. We filed these lawsuits and da-da-da-da-da. No, we just are people of color who had no means of actually reporting these crimes against us. So we would go to law enforcement and report the crimes. We reported it to the bar and the Oregon Health Authority and all these places, and then they say, we're not going to do anything for you. So we filed these lawsuits really to get information, and we didn't get much information, and we certainly didn't get any money or anything, but that's how we've been painted. the irony is all these attorneys that involved themselves in covering up this crime, and lots of attorneys came out to defend everyone against this, Scott included. He's got the entire legal community in the country defending him at this point. Me and my husband can't get any legal representation. The irony is it's these attorneys that are running around taking it out of everybody. I mean, they're just a bunch of liars, and they're not governed by any laws or rules, which is very apparent because Scott should have been picked up long time ago for what he did to Qadira. She was a child. I mean, if you're an attorney and you take on a case for a child, you are their fiduciary. You owe them more than their parents, really. In that type of relationship, Scott did absolutely nothing for Qadira. He did absolutely nothing. He did not protect her at all. He lied to us, her parents, the entire time, threw her case completely, left her with nothing, and has never checked back in for the last 16 years. Didn't give a shit what happened to her. None of these people did. I don't know how you live like that. I don't know how you can engage in the beat down and torture of a child and then just go on with your life and get married and have kids and post on Facebook and this, that, and the third. But this is what these people do. It's really sick, and they're still doing it. And I'm sad that law enforcement is not moving because they need to move in this case. But, I mean, if they don't, we'll be disappointed. But, I mean, we've been slapped down so hard, this entire time that, our cheeks are numb. So if they do nothing, I just want you all to know that they're doing nothing, and that's the community you live in. That's where we are. There's nobody with any integrity running anything. So as things, devolve down and get worse and more chaotic, and you're looking for help, well, there won't be any because you're not trying to stand up for anything that means anything. So, and the people in charge don't care, and they know that they know that you don't care because you're not. They're not even being held to account on this at all.
Folks.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You should be able to you should not, as a community member here, you should not want these people running around your community and running anything. But these people are running everything. They are irresponsible people, and they do not deserve for you to be listening to them.
It actually makes me kind of sick. Like the other day, I was scrolling through Twitter, and a picture of Ellen Rosenblum came up, and my stomach felt sick, like it was just going to drop out of the bottom of my whole body because this woman covered up this crime against my daughter, and she's sitting there smiling into the camera like she's special and moral and leading us all to a better place. And it's disgusting.
It's a lie.
Can we get somebody else in there who can do the job? Can we get somebody else in there that can do the job, really?
With integrity.
Gross.
With integrity, because these people, they don't have any integrity. They will do anything, okay? They will break the law whenever it is convenient for them. And you do not want people like that running your city, running your state.
No, and especially you don't want people like that having a law license. I mean, when I think about what this attorney did to our daughter, I mean, her abusers, the people who abused her, and then the doctors who abused her, I mean, wasn't that enough? But then you have an attorney come in and say, I'm going to help you, I'm your knight in shining armor, and then he lies the entire time to your face. He lied to our face. He made our daughter go to all these different proceedings to have a picture taken.
Illegal.
He was taking pictures of her injury, making her be interviewed by different people, interviewing him herself. We only made her available to him because he said that she was going to deal with anything, all of her interests surrounding her abuse, but he did nothing.
No,
he literally did nothing.
Actually had control of our daughter for his friend Rex and his brother Todd, and that should not be. We should not. That just shouldn't be able to go on here. But it did, and it is still going on.
It's still going on, and I'm telling you right now, I am a ball of nerves. I really want law enforcement to go pick Scott up. I don't know why Scott is allowed to run the community like a wild animal. He needs to be picked up immediately. Scott Kocher and his friends and anybody else that's involved in this. I'm done. I mean, I don't know if they're going to get to their investigation or get it done. They don't communicate with me. That's something else I wanted to talk about with law enforcement. When we talk about our communities devolving down into violence, I will tell you, as a crime victim, the system literally re-victimizes you and frustrates you to the point of you wanting to cause violence. You have to overcome that because they don't even communicate with you or care about you at all. There's no, real help. And I think we never talk about that when we talk about police violence and violence in our communities. Is there is a huge disconnect on, how a crime victim, or a potential crime victim should be treated. As a matter of fact, we were down in the police station the other day, and we watched two women come in. They wanted to report somebody had thrown some shit on them at their apartment, and they wanted to report it.
They wanted to report an assault.
There was nobody there to take the report. The person at the window said, maybe we'll get to you in the next 4 or 5 hours. And the women left out of the police station mumbling under their breath that they were just going to go beat this person up. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, Portland, you don't even have somebody at the front desk taking reports. You know what I'm saying? It took us 4 hours to give a report not that long ago, just when we were there. You have to have incredible patience. You have to have incredible self-control, all of that to deal with law enforcement. So me and my husband, we've been dealing with them for 16 years, and I haven't seen any positive changes in their behavior, and it's very damaging for our communities. Like, first of all, PPB, get somebody down at the station who is just there to take reports. Get a few people so you don't have people leaving angry and feeling unheard. Start there. You know what I'm saying? And then, when people are coming to you and reporting crimes, communicate with them. Don't make them feel like, they left all this information with you and nothing's getting done. I mean, there's so much more we need to do to combat violence in our communities, especially gun violence, because I can tell you right now, as a crime victim, they set people up for that. I mean, if you are somebody who's gonna, snap, they put you in a real good position to do that. Me and my husband, we're grounded in our beliefs, so that is not a route for us, but it's a route for many other people, and we're not putting in the checks and balances into our systems that is helping to alleviate any of that. And what bothers me, especially in our case, is they don't even want to talk to us, which, they should want to talk to people who have been dealing with law enforcement and gather information so they can make things better. But it's like, oh, I'm going to ignore you because all my friends engaged in trying to kill your kids, so now I don't want to talk to you. Not helpful.
Yeah, and actually, we shouldn't need a third party because we were involved with Police to Peace, whatever that thing was. I'm not exactly sure if it did anything or not. But why is it not the police and the city coming directly to the people asking, what do we need to do to make our relationship better with the public? Because that's not happening, folks.
No, and I feel like there's a lot I'd like to say in that venue, but I mean, nobody ever even asks me. There's no caring as to how we actually feel. And even right now, this information about Scott, I mean, nobody's communicating, nobody's talking to me. I mean, this is very disturbing to find out that this man had an underage relationship with the Pope's brother, because it's made my book all come clear, which is why I'm going to edit it and add more information, because like I said, this story is not even over. So if you get a copy of Justice for Qadira, know sometime in the future that the book will be edited to actually bring the story clear. I realize that's what's wrong with my first edition, is I didn't really tie everything together because I didn't really have every piece of information, and I'm still gathering information, I quite frankly. But
that's how sophisticated of an operation this was, folks. These people use the medical system. They use the courts. They're using the police to all collude to abuse a child. And it's actually, they tried to kill our daughter. They tried to kill her because we brought her to the hospital for help. They did not stabilize her. She could have died that night.
And it's not like
only God that saved her.
It's not even like they said, oh, we're not stabilizing her, we're not helping you. No, it was all very covert.
Yeah, so they oh no, go home and just put some Silvadine on it and wrap it 3 to 5 times a day. She'll be fine.
She couldn't even walk. I mean, the psychological abuse that we endured there, I can't even tell you. And it's been this ongoing psychological abuse of you're crazy. I have so many letters from actual law enforcement and representatives. We're so sorry that this, your daughter was burned in this accident, which wasn't an accident.
But we're not going to do anything about it.
So nasty. It's like, what are you trying to do with our community? And you're using your position to do that. Like, why would you use your position of power to upset somebody, to frustrate somebody?
We're going to be loud because we need to be loud because we need to be heard. Okay, right. And that's it.
That's what the driver just said. I mean,
there are people who want
loud.
I understand that we're loud, but would you rather us be violent?
No.
Okay, because that's what that leads to. Us not being able to speak up about this, us not having a voice, leads to violence. Okay? Because when you bottle up stuff like this, that's what happens. People explode. Okay, so we're out here and we're making sure that the community is safe. Okay? That's what we are doing out here.
We don't want to explode, and that's what I said earlier. Like, it's nice to be grounded in a peaceful, consistent protest, because that way you are always making sure that you are expressing yourself. And you don't need to go burn down your community to get that done. And that's just lame anyway. I'm not going to get these people to entice me to do something stupid, on account of them. Because what's the point? That's just them dragging them down, dragging you down to their level. And I'm not going to go there because that's so far down under, I don't even know if I could get there. So, and I don't want to go there. I mean, I could never have done this to somebody else's child. And, I was looking some of these people up the other day. They got kids and stuff. And
these people are sick.
Gross.
They're not
gross. Got little girls and everything. Gross. Like, okay, and you just tried to kill this person's kid and did all this horrible stuff and literally tried to incite violence in this community, in our schools, everywhere, because these people have kept the pressure up on our family, and we have doubled down on peaceful resistance, but they haven't helped us do that. So it's really, really, really imperative that we really look closely at what me and my husband are talking about as a community, because with the gun violence in this city, law enforcement has a lot of work to do if they want to solve that. If they want to solve that. And one of the things that they need to work on is the way they communicate with crime victims or potential crime victims, people who are feeling harmed, because they're not doing the work to stop the violence. We did some personal work to stop the violence because we chose not to be violent, but a lot of people are not capable of that.
No, they are, but they're just not doing it because what is being promoted in our society is violence. Violence is what solves your problems. That is what is being promoted in our society. Look at the war that's going on in Russia. Okay? That is like a testament to, the average response of human beings on this planet right now. We should not want a war. War is not good. Okay, it is not good. It's not good for anybody.
Nobody wins.
Good for anybody. Okay, so we should be able to figure this out by talking. Okay, but that's not what's happening.
And that's not what
we're doing.
That's not what our leaders lead us to do, because obviously we've been out here for over 2 years. And why are we out here? It's because these people will not get in a room and talk to us. No, not with all their degrees and all their specialties and all the help they could pull into the room and all of that. They don't want to figure any of this out.
No, because they just don't want to be held accountable. And that is absolutely irresponsible. That is just unacceptable.
Right.
We can't have people who are running our society not wanting to be held accountable for, I don't care if it was a mistake, own up. Okay, but these people did this stuff to our daughter when she was 8 years old, intentionally.
Yeah, and they need to pay the piper. I don't know when they're going to pay the piper. Maybe they won't pay the piper in this lifetime. I don't know, but that is a testament to the community we are building here. And when I look at how Portland has gone downhill in the last 16 years, I definitely think that this case had a lot to do with it, because a lot of people were involved in this. A lot of people have been handsomely rewarded for covering up the abuse of Qadira, and doing everything they've done to our family. And for some reason, they stand there in the right because they don't have to respond, right? Me and my husband, we get out here, we look crazy because we're having to protest and make our voices heard this way. And of course, what we've discovered is we don't have a free and fair media in the United States anymore. We don't even have media. If what you are talking about does not fit either the left or right agenda, you are not covered. And it doesn't matter, conservative, liberal journalists, because people have said to me, oh, contact this person, oh, contact that person, oh, do this or do that. I've done it all. Nobody wants to have a conversation about how our public officials manipulate the system to kind of do whatever they want. But I will say, I'm just disgusted when I see how these attorneys go around grifting. And when I saw the kind of hanky-panky that goes on in the courts and how they can rig stuff up, I mean, if you take a close look at what happened in Qadira's case, the entire proceeding from beginning to end was fraudulent because she was a child.
Folks,
so nothing they did was legal, but it all happened in a legal space in the Multnomah County Courthouse. So it needs to be, when you talk about interfering with a legal proceeding, because that's what January 6th was about, that is what this was about. So like Judge McShane, he needs to be arrested. Scott Kotcher, Rudy Lockenmeyer, everybody involved in that proceeding. You don't rig up proceedings, to get your friends insulated from a crime. But that's what happened here. And Todd and Amy have been completely insulated from this crime. We haven't been able to get law enforcement to do anything.
Not even to talk to these people.
Scott's been insulated. And I tell you what, Scott Kotcher, he could have driven me and my husband completely insane. I mean, finding out that he had an underage relationship with Rex Burkholder, I'm just glad that we kept fighting, because no matter what happens now, it just feels good to not be crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I knew this man was up to something, and we've been at this and at this and at this, and to figure out that this is what it all comes back to is very helpful. I mean, it's brought a lot of things clear in the case.
Now, you should not want this going on in your community, but here we are, folks.
I know when it could happen to you. You could get an attorney that just smiles in your face and lies to you.
It probably has.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it's happened to other people. I worry about Scott in particular because he is a child abuse attorney, and I'm sure he's preyed on other children, other low-income families, people who do not understand the law. And another thing I want to let people know is, representing yourself really is not that hard. What's unfortunate is that we are not taught to do so, because we would be a lot more engaged as citizens with our legal system if we were doing that. These attorneys, they're really out of hand. And the bar, it's just their friends watching them. So like Scott, when we reported him years ago, they did nothing. They literally sent me a letter that said he went to Harvard, so he did nothing wrong. Like, going to Harvard is an indication of being trustworthy and ethical and all this, that, and the third. That's all he needed was his Harvard degree to protect him from abusing our child and completely, crapping all over the system. And that has to stop. And that's for the protection of everybody. That's not just about the protection of our daughter. I mean, people have to realize we are out here talking about this. We are doing a community service, because the newspapers need to pay the piper around here. The medical community needs to pay the piper around here. Law enforcement needs to get right with itself. We support law enforcement if they want to act like law enforcement. But once you start acting like the Stasi and you're only protecting certain people and you're no longer enforcing the law, then I'm going to take some issue with you there. So, I mean, I'm trying to be patient here. We've been patient for 16 years, waiting for law enforcement to act. We do hope they act for their own integrity and for what they need to rebuild here in order to make this city and state a safe place. I mean, I don't know. Do these people care about the law or not? We're going to find out, but we should be hearing in short order that at least Scott has been picked up. There's a whole bunch of other people that need to be picked up surrounding the abuse of Qadira, but Scott needs to get picked up. He should have already been picked up. I don't know what the problem is. What's taking so long? Because I'm not, like I said, this isn't some demand me and my husband are making. This man has committed multiple crimes. Okay, we found the key. We found the connector. When is it time for him to go sit in the timeout chair? And when is it time for the victim to get some attention? I'd like to know. Because all these other people that hurt Qadira and stuff, they just, like I said, Todd and Amy, they went on with their lives. Rudy Lockenmeyer, the other attorney involved, Judge McShane, all these people, they all just went on with their lives to go do whatever, and didn't pay her no mind at all, made us pay her abusers. It's really sick, and, you know, I'm really hoping that something changes.
Folks, nobody would appreciate this, okay? If you experienced what we experienced, you would understand why we are standing out here and why we're all over, you know, this community trying to raise awareness for this, because it's not right, okay? It's not okay for something like this to be going on anywhere, especially in 2023, but this is what it is.
And especially...
Okay, they have the power to suppress this. That's why you have not heard about it anywhere in the media.
And especially in a culture where we have so much violence, for somebody to tamper with the civil dispute system in any way, and to be in there, you know, psychologically manipulating and trying to hurt people, try to get somebody to react violently, like our daughter, when these people were found not negligent at all after they sat up there laughing and joking about how they burned her up and tortured her and everything, that could have led to some serious violence. And, you know, like I said, praise Jesus, it didn't, because we're not like that, you know? I mean, just because, like I said, just because these other people have decided to hurt other people, we don't have to make that same choice. And we're not making that same choice, and that is that's notable for the last 16 years for us to have waited patiently for law enforcement to act. But I mean, it is time for them to get their act together. I'd like to see everybody involved in this. They need to go, period. And then there's some high-level people involved. And
I know that's why they're dragging their feet.
They're dragging their feet because of it.
You know, you do the crime. You know, it's not like these people even tried to cover up what they did.
Nope.
They did it right out in the open.
It's because,
right in plain sight.
It's because they
didn't care who knew. They just did it. They put their John Hancock on official papers.
Yeah, they just don't care because they
don't care. They know they can get away with doing whatever they want, and they do.
It's because they can manipulate public opinion with the media, and so the media, God, they're really the puppeteer, aren't they? And that's what we're really learning here with these rallies, is how much the media puppets the public. Because, you know, in 2020, I mean, people were downtown burning down the city over
something that didn't even happen here.
Yeah, one police officer.
It didn't even happen here.
What happened to George Floyd didn't even happen here. Yeah, you can have all this kind of misconduct, and then everybody's just kind of like do. So it's really the media. You know, they pull all the strings, and then people get puppeteered like robots. It's really sad because we have all this, you know, social media now, and we're all, you know, basically plugged into our phones and everything. So the media just has us going, rah, 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 and in the background, you know, you have all these corrupt officials just running circles around all of us, playing games in the courtrooms, playing games wherever they want, and making money hand over fist. I mean, every time these attorneys file these lawsuits, he's been making bank. It doesn't matter that he's a criminal. 16 years of reward since he threw Qadira's case, and he threw her under the bus. He left her with nothing and never even called to see if she was okay, because he literally, this is true psychopathic behavior, because when you don't care, I mean, he did not care about his victim at all. And that is why I keep saying the police need to pick this guy up. They've needed to pick Scott up, but now that we know he had a relationship with Rex, what's the hold up? Nobody, people, you know, should be rewarded for being good, not for being shitty. But Scott, he's been rewarded handsomely for being just the nastiest, filthiest, slimiest, grossest thing ever. And I want everybody to know, me and my husband are trying to do him a favor, and all these people that were involved in this, because they need to repent. They need to repent. You don't want to die with this kind of stuff on your conscience. When you do horrible things, it's better to just own up.
Come clean, folks.
While you're still still here.
Hold yourself accountable.
You don't want to take that to the afterlife. It's not a good idea. So, I mean, this city needs to be washed clean. And we're going to keep working on that. We're going to keep trying to wash the city clean because this is not a good look for Portland at all. So,
and they know that. That's why this is being suppressed. That's why they're controlling your social media algorithms around this and making sure you don't see this. Folks, it's up to you to make sure that something gets done about this. It's up to us together as a community to make sure that these people aren't running amok in our city.
That's right.
So many other people could be falling victim to these people because they are just out doing whatever they want to do. Nobody's even looking into them.
But we need to make sure that they're picked up legally. We don't want them harmed because we want to sit them down and talk to them. So, I mean, that is why, you know, me and my husband, we've doubled down, like I said, on peaceful resistance because we want to know what was going on with the perpetrators. We want to know if they've hurt anybody else. We want to make sure that these people can be sat down and questioned. That's what's important. Now, if nobody wants to sit them down and question them, you want them to run amok and you like the criminals being in charge, that's a choice.
Folks, we need to understand what kind of system, how they had this huge network of collusion in our system with the hospitals, with the courts, with the police. How did they get that done? What did they do there? What is set up? Is there some underground system that is moving or trafficking abused children? Okay?
It's concerning too.
That's what it looks like, folks. That's what our daughter was introduced to the moment we took her to the hospital.
And
that should concern everyone in this community.
And that concerns, you know, the other concern there is, I mean, if these people are harming other children and they've got it all set up where they can get an attorney to come in to whitewash it and they can get the doctors to throw the kid out of the hospital, they can get the parents lied to. I mean, me and my husband, our names have been smeared everywhere, okay, which is shit. I mean, I love a public apology at this point, but may never get one. You know, I mean, we have to accept nothing may ever be done about this. But what they won't ever get is our silence. We'll be disappointed, but they will never get our silence. But I mean...
Because we do not owe these people our silence, okay? Us being silent is allowing these people to win. Okay, that's why we're out here being loud.
People tell us to move on, and when I realized the other day when I was looking some of these people up and they're just living their happy-go-lucky lives, is the deal is this story meant everything to me and my husband because this is our daughter and this is our marriage and these are our kids and this is our life and this was done to us. But for the perpetrators, they didn't care about us at all because we're their victims and they hated us and they wanted us erased and they wanted us gone. And they wanted us to move on and never talk about this. They wanted us to be, they wanted us to just be locked in our shame, you know, pushed down into the bottom of a fucking bottle and never crawl out. And that almost happened. You know, both me and my husband have battled alcoholism because of this. Okay? And we've both climbed out of it. It was a very difficult journey. You know, I'm over a year sober now and I'm feeling so much better. And so is he. So it's like, you're not gonna get any more. I want them all to know that. I want every attorney in town. I want law enforcement. I want everybody to know you don't get any more of our happiness. Okay? We carve time out to deal with this, and then we go home and we try to live our lives and be grateful and praise God for the things that we have. And I'm not gonna let these people destroy everything. But these are very sick people. They need to be removed. I feel like, you know, all of our representatives are responsible at this point, and people need to start just coming forward and let's just talk like adults, if that's even possible.
I don't know if that is possible.
Because I see the war in Ukraine, and honestly, I don't think it's a bad idea to get everybody in a room and get it figured out, because I personally don't want to sit here for the rest of my life and eat bugs and live in nuclear fallout because a couple of men couldn't figure it out, okay? And they're sitting there, they got to throw bombs on everybody else. What is that? What kind of behavior is that? What is the point of that behavior?
It's irresponsible.
And it makes no
is,
sense,
folks.
You're just hurting all these people, and for what? I mean, I'm tired of it. Yes, I would like to see my public officials get in a room and work out problems, and it's like I'm you're on the ground.
Of hand over money, hand over fist, okay, to develop a war that's going to hurt a large population of people on the planet.
I mean, me and my husband, we protest downtown every Friday, and there's a zombie apocalypse going on down there. I mean, open drug use, naked people, shit in the streets. I mean, here in Portland. I don't want this to spread. We need to start cleaning things up now. We are literally in the midst of a zombie apocalypse. You might be safe from it. Maybe you're living somewhere where you are not encountering it. But my God, if you really pay attention to what's going on, I mean, we are losing people to drugs, depression, suicide. I mean, it's disgusting, and it has to do with the leadership. I mean, this is poor leadership, poor organization, poor law enforcement, and lack of caring for people. Just straight up lack of caring for people. People are just left to languish and die in the streets, and it's not okay. But me and my husband, what I can tell you is we were just going through our life, and things were going pretty good. And then these people molested and burned up our daughter, and oh my God, the horror we have been put through. And I tell you, when I think back all those years when I was like contacting the bar, contacting the police after we realized that our daughter had been abused and that we'd been being lied to, the nastiness we encountered, the sheer nastiness we encountered, the cold, bitter, resentful. I mean, when a victim speaks up, when a victim fights back, there was no applause. There has never been any applause. There's been anger, suspicion, just complete vitriol that we have encountered from law enforcement. And this is not to beat upon law enforcement, because again, I do support law enforcement, but we need to start acting like law enforcement. We need them to start enforcing the laws, that we've all agreed to. You can't just be working for the rich and the powerful and then nobody else matters. I mean, a big thing that's going on with me and my husband is everybody says you don't matter. So what happened to you doesn't matter in the big scheme of things, and that's why we're not talking about it, and that's why it's not news and nobody cares and yada, yada, yada. But everybody matters. And when
everybody should matter.
That's right. And when law enforcement is interacting with the community, I mean, if we cannot even try to, equally apply the laws, then we don't have laws, okay? That's a caste system, and I've been living under a caste system, which is me and my husband are, we're second-class citizens, which is why most of the services after our daughter was abused and my husband was harassed at Nike, that's why most of the services were not available to us. But it's covert. It's a covert caste system. You don't know until you actually try to utilize the system. So a lot of people go through their whole lives and they have no contact with the system, so they don't know that they are a lower-class citizen. But for poor people, people of color, if you have contact with the system, then you start to see how it is. I mean, so there's a lot to work out here, and I just feel like none of it's getting talked about because, of course, the media is they're being funded by whoever, these people who are covering all this up. Like I said, I mean,
BlackRock, Vanguard, whatever.
I mean, all I know is you just Google Scott Kotcher, and it's like, wow, this guy has had like an incredible career. I mean, he literally became a rising star after he threw our 8-year-old daughter under the bus. I mean, this guy has done nothing. It's like he made a deal with the devil, and I guess it's been real good for him. And maybe that deal's going to continue because maybe everybody wants to be run by the devil. I don't know. I mean, that's what it feels like in this city to me. I feel like Satan's at the helm. I mean, and this battle between me and my husband and the city and the state, it's just been ongoing, and there's been no way to fix anything because the people in charge are just totally beholden to evil. And I don't get that. I don't know when the citizens are going to want something different, but more citizens need to want something different.
Want something better
than right now. So every week we get out here, it just means that not enough people are interested in actually seeing this worked out. For whatever reason, I don't know. The benefit is all to you. Your public officials hiding and not making statements about this doesn't benefit you at all. It just doesn't, because we're all at risk because of this corruption that's just allowed to go on and run unchecked in our community.
What we experienced was absolutely and complete 100% tyranny. That's all it was.
Tyranny.
It was just tyranny. And they did not expect us to come through it. They did not expect for us to be standing here trying to talk to you. Okay?
No.
And I don't know how many kind of lies they spread about us to make you believe that we are out here doing something nefarious, but it is not true, folks.
I mean,
we are out here for you. We are out here for our community. We would like this to be a safe place for everyone.
I mean, what's really scary is they tried to take me and my husband's minds. And that's really scary. Like, they tried to confuse us and manipulate us and incite us to violence. And what really bothers me is law enforcement was involved in this. And that's really gross. It's really gross. And I'm glad that we are the people we are, because this didn't lead to a school shooting. This didn't lead to a community being burned down. This didn't lead to anybody being hurt. But it is truly, truly, truly disgusting. And law enforcement needs to be held accountable for that. The people who were trying to actually emotionally manipulate and disturb me and my husband, I've got letters.
To the point where we could be violent.
You don't shove in someone's face, "Oh, I'm sorry, your child was abused."
Severely abused.
You don't
but
do
we're
that.
not going to do anything about it.
No,
you don't tell parents that, okay?
No.
Okay, because we very much could have been on the edge. We very much could have been the kinds of people that do pick up a gun and mow down a bunch of people. Is that how that is happening? Okay, is law enforcement all over the place driving people to commit mass shootings? Is that why we continue to hear about it day in and day out?
I mean,
because that is what we experience.
That's our experience. And because we are not, for me and my husband, because we are grounded in pacifism, we didn't go there. But I can tell you, we were being drugged there. Not just led there, drugged there. Okay, these people did not care. They didn't care about you. They didn't care about your kids. They didn't care about the safety of anything. I mean, my God, when I think back to what kind of horrible things we could have done, there was after they essentially threw Qadira's case and threw us out and she got nothing and everybody laughed at her and laughed at us and all this. When we went back to school that year, there was no security at Hayhurst. Nobody was worried about our mental or emotional state. It would have been so easy to get a gun. It's disgusting. And that is why we keep talking about this, because I want law enforcement also to take some responsibility for what they did wrong here. Because this cannot go on. It puts people at risk. You cannot respond to stuff like this. And the legal community, for shame, for every attorney in this state. The fact that me and my husband do not have any legal guidance or legal counsel or anybody helping us, that just goes to show again, when you're talking about, white supremacy, well, there you have it. You know what I'm saying? We got no one. We got no one. We've got our faith. We've got our faith in God. And some of you probably don't like us because of that, because we talk about Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And that's a problem for you, although Jesus is why we are peaceful. So, I will always praise Jesus, and you should too, because that is the driving factor behind why we continue to be peaceful, because that is what we believe. Okay, we're going to turn the other cheek. We're going to keep suggesting that everybody get it together, though, and that law enforcement do their job, because that's the best thing for the community. Okay, so I think we're going to shut it down,
folks. We've enjoyed being here and sharing with you. Okay, we're gonna be here next week, as promised. Okay, we're gonna continue to get out here into our community, because this is our community too. Okay, it's not just yours. We are your community members. We are your neighbors. Okay, we are your neighbors, and all we want is for this to be a safe place.
Absolutely.
An inclusive and safe place. That's why we keep getting out here, because what we experienced does not make this community a safe place, okay?
That's right.
What we experienced is basically a festering nightmare that is going to harm a lot of people.
And you know what's scary is that, the fact that we can't get legal counsel should concern everybody, because it just means that we have been completely stripped of our rights, and that can happen to you too. here in America. You can be stripped of your rights because the attorneys don't have to help you. And even though the courts should recognize the rules of the courts and recognize pro se lawsuits and pro se litigants, so few people do it that they really don't. They just throw everything out undercover and they don't have to explain it to anybody. So, nobody is paying attention. So we're really in a pickle here in our society. There's some things we really need to fix and change. And me and my husband, we're about that. We're going to keep working on this. We're going to keep pounding away at this. And we're going to keep making sure that this place gets cleaned up. Because I'll tell you right now, when they finally start cuffing and arresting the people in power who did this, thank you. That's going to be a good day for everybody. Because I don't care what the color of your skin is. I would never want anything like what happened to my family to happen to anybody in this community, because I recognize the major pitfalls that law enforcement hasn't been paying attention to. This could have really drove violence, and this could have really radicalized me and my husband to really be pounding away at, let's have a violent response, because that's what people do.
And folks,
we can't do that.
No, we cannot do that if we want to fix anything. And I want to tell you folks, the amount of offers that we got to engage in violence. Folks, if we were about violence, we would have a huge mob up here destroying everything. Because that's how many people wanted to just handle it this way. And we cannot do that. If we want to make a better, more peaceful, more inclusive, safer community, we cannot devolve down into violence. It just can't happen. Okay? Right. It just cannot happen. So I will be out here yelling and screaming for as long as I need to in order to create that place where people are safe.
And if we can actually achieve having like an adult conversation about something serious here in the city, maybe we can do that on the national scale, and maybe we actually can stop this war.
Maybe we can.
Well, I'm telling you right now, we need to stop the war. Janet Yellen just rolled over to Ukraine and gave them another $1.25 billion. Boy, everybody's going to be dead in the streets over here. We're not going to have any money for anything. We already have people dying in the streets. This war needs to stop. The way the world is going right now, we can't afford war. We have too many people that need to be taken care of. We have too many. We're facing multiple disasters, people needing help on all different levels. We are losing people in droves. People are leaving society and just choosing to languish on the streets because they can't deal with all the stress and the pressures that have been created here. And we need to be focusing on those issues and getting things cleaned up, not blowing things up. So, I would love to facilitate a conversation here about something serious, because like I said, if we can just have one serious conversation, that can lead to another serious conversation. And conversations are way harder than war, okay? In terms of, we have to really get down to the bottom of things. We have to really look deep in somebody else's heart. I want to know, between Putin and Zelensky and all these people pushing for war and bombing innocent people and stuff, really, what is your end game here? Because people are trying to live their lives. We only have a limited time here. One of the things that's really hard for me is the last 16 years of my life, all the years I was raising my babies, I had this over my head. My youngest was 2 years old when Qadira was burned, and this has been a really difficult journey, and it makes me sad because I wish I could have had that time to just be a mom, and not have to worry about all this corruption and BS that we got drug into, because this person was covering up a crime for their brother. It's just really unfortunate, and then to have law enforcement help them and yada yada yada, and the rest is history. But I look forward to keep pounding away at this story. I'm going to be working on my book more. This is a lifetime effort for us now. We have to root out this corruption, America, and we absolutely have to learn to work together. And we're not going to learn to do any of those things if we're not talking to each other.
Yeah, if we're not having serious conversations about what's really going on, because that's not what I see in the media. When I look in the media, all I see is garbage being thrown at everybody.
Yep.
Okay? There's this confusion and misinformation. And folks, it's not helping us. It's not helping us. That's why it's important for us to get out in front of each other physically. okay, and talk to each other, not behind a keyboard. I don't even know if it's real people that I'm talking to online. It could be AI, okay?
Yeah,
Has anybody played with Chat GPT? Folks, it is scary, okay? You do not know what real people are anymore, and that is a scary place to be when we are being threatened, okay? Humanity is under assault. We are under assault, okay? We're not recognizing it. We are not recognizing it, but we need to. We need to wake up. We need to understand what actually matters, and it's people. We need people here. Contrary to popular belief, people are necessary here to run a human civilization.
And you need to treat people good if you want them to be able to participate in society. And I mean, it's just the fact that we have all these people languishing in the streets. It's not a surprise to me and my husband because we saw how quickly our daughter at 8 years old was just thrown out to die like a piece of trash.
Folks,
like a piece of trash. I'm not kidding. And these people, like I said, they've never looked back. Okay, they never even expected her to grow up because they expected her injuries to take her life. And she does live with a lot of health conditions because of this. And still, you know, we are waiting for the day when this will ever even be acknowledged by the medical community, when she will ever get any compensation, any help, any apology, anything. We are waiting on all of that. And we're just going to keep on waiting, and hopefully it'll happen in this lifetime. But
folks,
you know,
I want to tell you,
we'll see.
Folks, we cannot afford to throw people away. Okay, people are not disposable. They're just not. Okay, everybody here matters, and if we actually make that the goal of our human society, human culture, instead of doing anything else, if we just focused on caring for people, that would radically change, you know, the social and economic landscape. If we could just understand that, if we could embrace that idea that we actually matter, okay, and that's the way we should be running our society.
And we should be expecting our public officials, like I feel like as a taxpayer, we're all paying a lot of money for these people to figure these problems out, not put us in a situation where we're having to send our kids off to some foreign land to go die, or we're dying ourselves because there's some toxic spill or crap in our food or whatever. Like, we're supposed to be setting up these systems to help one another, and they need to work. But with that, we're going to shut it down.
Folks, we are going to shut it down, but we will be back here next week,
and we'll do our affirmation.
Same time, okay, same place, and we're going to continue to talk about the same stuff because it needs to be talked about. So what we want to leave with you, what we want to leave with you, okay, right now is an understanding that we have developed, okay, and it is an important understanding because this is what has kept us alive. Okay, throughout this entire ordeal is this understanding, and this is what they were trying to take from us. Okay, so it goes like this.
I am the value, you are the value, we are the value. I am the value, you are the value, we are the value. I am the value, you are the value, we are the value.
Folks, it's not money, it's not gold or silver, okay, it's not cryptocurrency. It is you. It is your actual life. That is the only thing that is worth, literally worth everything. Okay? It's the only thing that's worth anything.
And hanging on to your value is so important because people will try to rip it from you. And that's what's happened to us over the past 16 years. And we're really grateful to not have turned to violence or, you know, taken ourselves out of the picture or anything.
Giving away our value.
Right, so we can be standing up here today and talking about this because we're still here, and that's what's really important. So again, we praise Jesus for that, and we will see you guys next week. God bless.
Thank you, Multnomah Village.
Hey, I just wanted you to know that if you keep doing this, someone with power will listen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
hope so.
But it's just from me. You know who it's from.
Okay, that's right.
We hope so.
I hear
So
that.
we will be out here. Thank you.